are two things in Pokemon that I truly enjoy, and they might surprise you, or they might not. Who knows? I don't know you. The first is shiny Pokemon. Those little discolored rascals really get my goat going. And the second is the coolest type with the coolest Pokemon by far, the fire type. So today, in a shocking turn of events, I have decided to try to beat Pokemon Violet using only shiny fire type Pokemon. Will we be able to overcome the insurmountable obstacles that stand in the way of this goal? Only one way to find out. Let's get into it. So we wake up on this beautiful new day in Paldea, and we're given the usual choice of starter Pokemon, but there's no actual choice to be made here. Of course, I go with Fuecoco. He's the only fire type. Duh. Now I know, it's not a shiny. But don't worry, I'm going to be using some mysterious witchcraft called the Masuda method to get a shiny one as soon as I can. And if you don't know what that is, don't worry, I'll explain it later. For now though, we just have to forge on with what we've got because it's our only choice. So we beat Nemona, saved Miraidon, got saved by Miraidon, lost to Nemona, but that's okay, and then headed up to the school gates. Along the way, we saved Penny from some Team Star grunts and learned about terastallizing, which as per our rules earlier, we won't be using in this run. Anyway, we attended our first day at the academy, and now it was finally time to get our first shiny. Now, I mentioned this earlier, but the way we're gonna get it is by using the Masuda method. By breeding two Pokemon that originate from different languages, we can boost the chance of hatching a shiny by up to 6 times in Pokemon Violet. Why this exists in the game and who discovered it, literally no idea, but I'm happy it does. In our case, we're gonna be importing a foreign language Ditto that we have and breeding it with our little Fuecoco. Now, don't get me wrong. This method does help out massively, but it still takes a ton of time. It's only a 1 in 683 chance to hatch a shiny after all, so I spent hours at this picnic table breeding Pokemon after Pokemon and waiting for them to hatch. I must have hatched at least a couple hundred of these little guys, but we did eventually get what we were looking for, our first glorious shiny party member. Look at that beautiful pink coat and that subtle off-white coloring, the tasteful thickness of it. Oh my god. Fuecoco's final evolution is Skeledirge, which is fire and ghost type, so I decided to name him Ace after Luffy's brother in One Piece. Ace can use fire attacks thanks to the Maramara no Mi, and the ghost works because, well, yeah. Now that we have our first fire shiny, the run has officially begun, and the first gym up is the Bug Gym, which we managed to absolutely demolish thanks to our type advantage. Thanks to this gym and some extra wild battles, Ace evolves into a Crocolore. Look at this little derpy guy. He has little black gloves, so fresh, my god! Anyway, I wanted to head over to the first Titan battle, but along the way, I ran into a Capsakid. Now, I know, Capsakid is a grass type, but its evolution, Scovillain, is grass and fire type, and I just couldn't pass up on this rare combo. And yes, it's not shiny, but we can use the Masuda method again to breed an actual shiny one. And so we began the long and painful loop of breeding, hatching, and feeling disappointed that it's not shiny. This went on for hours, but we stuck it out and did eventually manage to get a shiny one. I immediately evolved him into Scovillain with a shiny Firestone and named him Todoroki because of his two-tone design. And at this point, I feel like I couldn't have gotten luckier because the first Titan, Cloth, is a rock type, which grass moves are super effective against. The first phase was super easy, only taking a couple hits to beat, but the second phase was a little more close. Todoroki was still outputting massive damage, but the Stony Titan was hitting back hard. We barely managed to scrape through thanks to the help of Arven's Shelter, and we were left on just 9 HP. Whew! That was close, but at least it's done, and now it was time to take on the Grass Gym. As expected, the Grass Gym was super easy. Our type advantage carried us hard, and we took down most of the competition in one hit. Brassius didn't stand a chance. The next challenge was the Flying Titan Bombardier, which honestly wasn't that difficult either. The first phase we just powered through with Ace, and in the second we used Todoroki and the power of the sun to increase our speed and damage output massively. Sunny Day allowed us to outspeed the Titan and finish it off in just 2 hits. The next port of call was, Kofu jump scare. Okay, phew, he's running away. Good. I'm not so sure we can beat him right now with our 2 fire-type Pokemon. Oh, I'm back on wrong screen again. What am I doing here? Oh, of course, it's to let you know about today's sponsor, Maribo Go. Maribo Go is the first truly free, PAL-like survival catching builder mobile game, and if that sounds like a mouthful of features, it is, but it really does deliver on all these things and more. This game is launching with over 100 pals you can catch and hang with while you explore the expansive world. As you can imagine, all these different pals have all kinds of different strengths, skills, abilities, and elements. And once you have your pals, you can use them to help you build up your base. You can assign pals out to gather resources, build structures, and do all kinds of menial labor for you. Once you've spent time building up your base, you can go out into the world and fight the fierce pal bosses. You can equip your pals with weapons that range all the way down from this simple wooden stick up to modern weaponry, which, gets a little crazy. And the absolute best part of this game is the multi-battle feature, where you can invite your friends to help you survive in the wild, take on bosses, and gather more resources, all together using the power of friendship. Maribo Go is launching globally on October 10th, and you can reserve it on the App Store and the Google Play Store today. And on your Windows PC! Click the link below and share it with your friends, because this game is best enjoyed together. Thanks a lot to Maribo Go for sponsoring today's video. Now back to it. And as I was saying, the next place I wanted to go was the caves in the West Province. I wanted to try to find a female salandit, as only the female can evolve into salazzle, and having a poison fire Pokemon in our team could help out a ton going forward. The problem is, female salandits are quite rare, only spawning 12.5% of the time, and I need it to be shiny. Yeah, this one took a long time. I arrived at the caves and I was happy to see that there were actually tons of salandits, but every single one I ran into was a male. Look, there's another. Look, there's one, and another, and another, and another. I know it's only a 12.5% chance for a female, but I must have ran into hundreds of males before finding a female one. But eventually we did manage to find a shiny salandit that's stuck in a wall. Why, game? Why must you do this to me? I bet it's a female one too. It even came so close to the wall. Why, Game Freak? Why? That is so painful. We then had to spend another lifetime in this area running back and forth finding mostly male salandits and some non-shiny female ones. But then, in the darkest hour, just when we couldn't hold on for a second longer, the angels above smiled upon us and rewarded our hard work and perseverance. We had finally done it. After an incredible amount of hours of in-game searching, we have found the impossible. A shiny female salandit. I honestly think that this amount of time was pretty lucky. We could have literally been here for weeks searching. But anyway, I decided to name her Mars after Sailor Mars, and I really hope she is worth all the trouble it took to get her. At least she looks super cool, so we can be happy about that, right? Now that we have a sizable team with decent type coverage, I wanted to start the takedown of Team Star, and the first to fall was Hakamo. Thanks to a super effective flamethrower, Pawniard was easy enough. Then the power of the sun helped us with the giant Revavroom. Except when it didn't. Somehow Todoroki was still getting outsped. I mean, I guess it's a giant car, but come on! We have the power of the sun! Well, at least Ace was there to finish off the battle. With Hakamo down and out, we were once again challenged by Nemona, but this time, we actually beat her. Todoroki just kinda blasts through everything that's thrown at him. Now at this point, next up was Iono and the Electric Gym. The two trainers that we have to beat for the Electric Gym were melted by Ace, and Iono stood no chance either. Her Wattrel was incinerated, Bellibolt cremated, Luxio ignited, and Miss Magus overestimated. And now that we have the Electric Gym badge, oh god! A wild Kofu. Oh, he's just talking to flowers. Okay. As I was saying, now it was time to take out another Team Star group, the Fire Group. Let's show them our fire burns stronger than the rest, shall we? Now, I knew this fight would be a tedious one. We don't have any moves that are effective against fire types in any way. So my strategy for this battle was to use Mud Slap as many times as I could to lower the enemy's accuracy and Snarl to lower their special attack. Thanks to this, I barely took any damage, and any damage I did take, I just healed by using leftovers. It was a slow battle, but we won in the end. And from here, the next fight was the Steel Titan, Orthworm, which was kind of weird. I used Sunny Day to buff my moves, but then it also started to rain. Yeah, a weird combination, but luckily I still got the stat boost and managed to beat the worm. Good job, Scovillain. But now it was time. We can't avoid it any longer. We had to face our biggest enemy, Kofu, in the water gym. Here we go. The fight begins, and it's Todoroki versus Veluza. I use Sunny Day to buff my speed and attacks and hit it with a solar beam. Huh. Veluza goes down in one hit? Okay, that was easier than I thought. Next up is Wugtrail, which is once again hit with solar beam and... What? How is this happening? This was supposed to be a difficult fight. Crabominable. Also down in one hit? Okay, well, yeah. Cool. What I thought was going to be one of the hardest battles in the run turned out to be one of the easiest. We just kind of one-shot all of Kofu's Pokemon. Well, now that that's done, I wanted to evolve Mars into a Salazzle, since the next big challenge I wanted to attempt was the Poison Team Star. It only took a few wild Pokemon battles, but we did it. We now have a white, human-sized lizard. It's actually kind of terrifying. Yeah. Anyway, time to beat Poison Star Atticus. Unfortunately, Todoroki died immediately, but Mars was here and it was her time to shine. Skuntank tried to use Sucker Punch over and over against Mars, but it failed every time. Since I wasn't taking any damage, I used Nasty Plot to buff my attack, and once Sucker Punch ran out of PP, it was time to sweep. Skuntank, Revavroom, Muck, and the Starmobile were all incinerated. With Poison Star out of the way, I spent a few minutes fighting wild Pokemon to evolve yet another one of our team members. After reaching level 36, Crocolore was ready to evolve into his final form. Our little pink friend has finally become the machine of destruction he was always destined to be. Everyone please welcome Skeledirge to the team. Look at him, the pink highlights look so cool, and it makes the fire stand out so much better. He's glowing. Literally! And at this point, it was time to put this beast into action by beating the normal gym. Larry's a homie, so I almost feel bad for him. Almost. But Kamala against Ace? It's almost laughable. Ha! Boom! Dead! Dunsparce gone! Staraptor destroyed! Ace soloed the entire fight. That's my boy. Of course, right afterwards, Nimona challenged us to a battle, and unfortunately, it didn't go all that well. I got pretty unlucky with Ace flinching, and with just 3 Pokemon against her 4, there wasn't much I could do. So with that in mind, I set out to try to get our next party member. There were tons of Fire-type Pokemon to choose from, but I decided I would try to get an OG. One of the strongest, one of the coolest, and one of the most recognizable Pokemon ever. I wanted a Charizard. We spent a while just breeding and hatching, and at one point I even tried to hatch a different Pokemon. Now I won't spoil who that is just yet, but don't worry, we will get to that later. But as I was saying, with enough determination, I did eventually get what I was looking for. Ta-da! Yes, that is a shiny Charmander. I know it doesn't look that different. He's just yellow instead of orange, but that's okay because we evolved him, and there we go, shiny Charmeleon. Yeah, he doesn't look too different either, does he? Yellow instead of red again. But if we evolve him again, oh my god, he looks sick, as dark as the night, but as powerful as the sun. It's the main man himself, it's Charizard. The full black coat on him is so cool. It's like a Venom Charizard or something. I chose to name him Sabo after another one of Luffy's brothers. He has the same fire powers as Ace because Ace, lost them. I thought it'd be a good idea to Whoa, I'm stuck on a rock! What the heck, Miraidon? Watch where you're going. Anyway, up next was the Ghost Gym, and let me tell you, I do not envy them. Having to go up against the destroyers that are Todoroki and Sabo, I'd just hand the gym badge over if I were them. But props where it's due, Rhyme didn't give up. I mean, it wasn't close, but at least she didn't give up, right? Thanks for the badge, Rhyme, yoink! Then the Earth Titan Iron Treads tried to stop us, but Sabo is a natural counter to it, so, well, you can see how that went. We had a nice meal in a cave with Arven, but then it was straight on to the next gym battle against the psychic leader Tulip. Tulip started by throwing out Farigiraf, and I started with Sunny Day in the night. It doesn't make sense, I know, but thanks to the power of the sun, we pretty easily took down Tulip. Farigiraf got beamed, Gardevoir got burned, as Pather got sliced up, and Florges got, lashed? Fire lashed. I don't know, she died, okay? After healing up, it was time for what you would think would be the easiest gym battle in the entire game, the ice gym. And it was. Since fire is super effective against ice, there's really not much to talk about here. I buffed myself with Sunny Day again, but honestly I don't think it even mattered. Todoroki took out almost everything in one hit, and after the battle, we were graced with the presence of Gita. Nemona was stood around looking shifty too, but what the heck? What's with that person behind Nemona? Why do they look like that? Someone's been mewing, huh? Anyway, for the fight with Fairy Team Star, I tried to use Nasty Plot with Mars, but yeah, that didn't work out. So I used Sunny Day with Todoroki and switched to Ace to take out Azumarill. Then I switched back to Todoroki against Darkspun and Wigglytuff and finished out the fight with Sabo. After that quick victory, I was ready to take on the final Titan, and this time, it was the Dragon Titan. Todoroki blasts through the imposter fish, and then the real deal reveals itself. The little sushi guy attacks with muddy water, and yowza, that's a lot of damage, what? Sabo is just barely hanging on, but even a super effective Dragon Claw barely does any damage against this little guy. Mars hits with a Dragon Pulse, but it's immediately returned at our buddy Greedent. I tried Dragon Pulse once again, and you have got to be kidding me! It's on 1 HP, what the heck? Fortunately, the sushi guy's Icy Wind doesn't do too much damage against us, and we're able to end the fight on a win. Now that we've beaten all of the Titans, I wanted to catch one more very specific Pokemon. We've got good type coverage so far with Fire, Ghost, Grass, Poison, and Flying, but there is one more Pokemon that lets us use electric attacks as well. That Pokemon is Rotom, in heat form. So I took some time to ride around Levincia, and I actually got insanely lucky. It took basically no time at all to find a shiny Rotom. Still a long time relative to other things you can do in Pokemon, but a far cry from the time it took to get Salazzle. I used a Rotom catalog to turn it into an oven and named the little guy Rengoku. I'll admit, his little oven mitts look kinda weird. Look at him jiggle. But the pink-red kinda coloring does work more for a fire type than its original color. And now that we have our 5th teammate, it was time to beat the Fighting Team Star group. And this was so easy. Sabo obliterated them all. It was almost too easy. At this point, I was feeling super confident in my team, but we were getting pretty close to the final battles, so I wanted to play it safe and get a 6th and final party member. Now, I mentioned it earlier, but this entire time, since I got Sabo, I have been hatching egg after egg, trying to get a shiny version of our last Pokemon. I have spent hours hatching eggs throughout the back half of this playthrough while driving around, but I haven't managed to get it until now. Everybody, please welcome to the team, Chimchar. Side note, why are so many shiny Pokemon pink? What the heck is up with that? Anyway, Chimchar alone is great and all, but I'm gonna take it up to the next level and evolve him into Monferno and then into Infernape. We now have fighting type coverage, and look how crazy this dude looks. He is legitimately the true Monkey King. Let's hope he's as strong too. To test him out, I went up against Clavel, and boy, did he not disappoint. Infernape managed to take down Houndoom and Amoonguss with ease. The only thing that was a bit of a pain was the terrestrialized Quaquaval, but Rengoku came in clutch with a super effective discharge. With Clavel beat, we could now try our hand at becoming the best fire Pokemon trainer in Paldea by taking on none other than the Elite Four. The first of the Elite Four is Rika, and we're immediately hit with a bad matchup. Whiscash, a water type. It used Earth Power, but fortunately I didn't take much damage, and I hit it with a Solar Beam for an instant KO. Similarly, Donphan got beamed in one hit, and Dugtrio couldn't handle it either. At this point, Rika's getting her butt kicked, so she decides to send out Camerupt, but it doesn't really help all that much because Todoroki avoids its attack and counters with a devastating Solar Beam. Her final Pokemon was Clodsire, which manages to inflict poison on Todoroki. Rika hits again with an Earthquake, and our boy has finally fallen. It only took her 5 Pokemon to take it out. Nice work, Rika. Pretty quickly though, Sabo cleans up the rest of the fight with a flamethrower, and after reviving Todoroki, we're on to the second of the Elite Four, Poppy. We're immediately back to using our shiny Scovillain, and with a single flamethrower, Copperajah is down. But this little guy doesn't stop there. Boom! Corviknight is dead. Pow! Bronzong is dead. Ka-chow! Magnezone is, Okay, that didn't do much damage. But Infernape brings it in for a close combat, and kazam! Magnezone is dead! For some reason, Poppy thinks her last Pokemon can turn the tide of battle. She really thinks it's gonna take down all 6 of my Pokemon. Laughable. As you can imagine, we absolutely crush her dreams and her spirit by obliterating Tinkaton with a Flare Blitz. And so, the next fighter is our best bro, Larry. I'm sorry, little one, but this has to be done. I start this battle with Rengoku, and Tropius straight up combusts after we use Overheat. I then swap out to Ace and silly Staraptor, close combat doesn't affect Skeledirge. We sing a fiery song and Staraptor is down. Unfortunately, Altaria gets the better of Ace, but not to worry. Mars avenges Ace with interest. Altaria, Oricorio, and Flamigo are all taken out. And now we face the final member of the Elite Four, the Dragon Tamer Hassel. The battle starts, we buff ourselves with Nasty Plot, oh god, Noivern nearly kills us, Mars successfully beats Noivern, Mars beats Dragalge, Mars beats Haxorus, Mars beats Flapple, Mars beats Baxcalibur, Mars beats, they're all already dead, huh? Okay, well, that was Hassel, I guess. Alright, well, now it's time to go up against the best of the best. The top trainer in Paldea, the mean Queen Geeta. So we meet her on the roof and Scovillain kinda just murders everything. Yeah. As Pather tries to reflect it, but I mean nothing is stopping a flamethrower. It burns right through and the turkey is cooked. The same goes for King Gambit, Avalugg, Veluza, Go-Goat, and almost the final Pokemon, Glimmora. The Crystal Flower is left on just a sliver of HP, but it's enough to take out Todoroki. This little two-tone plant has been insane against the Elite Four and Geeta. Rest well, Todoroki. You've earned it. But now the fight is all but over, so I bring in Mars to finish off Glimmora. We are now the best Pokemon trainer in Paldea and have the right to open up our very own gym. But the challenge isn't over yet. There's still a few more loose ends we need to tie up, starting with our good buddy Arven. He wants us to prove we're ready to go down to Area 0, so we go outside to show him that we're more than capable. I guess beating La Primera wasn't enough. Okay, well, let's get into it. The fight starts and Greedent dies. That was fast. Infernape tries to punch some rocks but can't quite break through and is taken out by an earthquake. Our champion Todoroki then manages to take out Garganacl, but Toadscruel's poison is too much to handle. Fortunately, Rengoku brings us back, taking down Toadscruel, Cloyster, and a lame non-shiny Scovillain. Take that, you imposter! Sadly, we now have to fight this good boy, so Sabo and Mars team up to put it down gently. At this point, we were now ready to head to Area 0 for the final battle of the video, but first, there were 2 more nuisances I had to deal with. Starting with Penny and her horde of Eevees. Fortunately, this battle wasn't too bad, except for Jolteon. Screw Jolteon. I hate Jolteon. Infernape managed to beat both Umbreon and even Vaporeon without taking damage, but this little scumbag kept paralyzing my poor Pokemon. An absolute scallywag, I swear! A schmuck? If you will. Luckily, Ace survives a hit on 20 HP and blasts Jolteon away. Then Infernape takes out Flareon, burns through Leafeon, and sacrifices himself to win us the fight against Sylveon. So that's Penny and Team Star taken care of, but I did say there were 2 nuisances, not just 1. That's right, we still have our last battle with Nemona. Currently, the score is 2-1 in her favor, but who's really counting, right? It's me. I'm counting. So we're gonna change that right now. Here we go. Infernape versus Lycanroc. We hit with the speedy close combat, and Nemona's wolf is already out of there. I try to use close combat again, but ooh, Earthworm barely hangs on. Unlucky for us. That's all she needs is we're hit with a huge earthquake that has us quaking in our boots. Not? Infernape may be down, but we still have plenty to take on this deviant. Sabo quickly disposes of Earthworm and buries Palmot too. We hit Goodra with the super effective Dragon Claw, but I mean, it doesn't do all that much. Somehow a bucket of muddy water does more damage to us and eventually takes Sabo out. Mars is up next, and Dragon Pulse easily gets us to the next enemy. For Dudunsparce, we switch out to Rengoku and hit it with a super damaging discharge. And finally, we have arrived at Nemona's ultimate Pokemon, a terastallized Meowscarada. And we're just here, a microwave oven with 1 HP and a dream. Rengoku uses Overheat, but it's not quite enough to one-shot the Cat Magician. Fortunately though, it did do a ton of damage, and we still have plenty of healthy Pokemon. I switch back to Mars, and after one final flamethrower, it's over. We've done it. Good fight, Nemona. Now, we're even. And finally, it was time to finish this thing once and for all. Area 0 is calling our name. Hello, Professor Turo, or should I say, Al Turo? The battle begins. Mars versus Iron Moth. We buff with Nasty Plot while Iron Moth attacks with Discharge. Oh goodness, that did a lot of damage. That's kind of scary. But no worries, go! Use Dragon Pulse! Not bad damage, but Iron Moth hits with another Discharge, and please no. Okay, 14 HP. One more Dragon Pulse. Go! Yes! Iron Moth is down. Come on, Mars, I believe in you. Dragon Pulse again. Boom, Iron Thorns is down, and Iron Bundle, and Iron Jugulus, and Iron Hands, and Iron Valiant. Wow. We really did just one-shot all of Turo's Pokemon except the first one. Huh. I was really worried there for a second. But we did it! We have beaten Pokemon Violet using only Shiny Fire Pokemon. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Till next time.